Oh, hey there. Come on in. We're just about to start. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information. Mom, what's for dinner? A question that often gives women anxiety if they haven't planned for meals or don't have supplies and groceries to make supper for the family. Is there a dinner plan? If there is it nutritious? Do they like it? And will they eat it? Today we talk to Szilvia Brennan, dietitian from Beyond Food Nutrition, all about meal plan strategies. Stay with us.
Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hey, Rob.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We have a guest today.
Do we?
We haven't had a guest in a while.
That's true. Yeah. Szilvia Brennan, dietitian from Beyond Food Nutrition, and she helps women and men, whoever is in charge of meal planning and groceries in the family household. Mm-hmm. She helps them with strategies for meal planning.
Men don't typically ask for help, so that's probably why her market is more women, because
Right.
Men are like, no, I'm good, I got this.
Yeah.
And then they'll struggle through and pretend they're good.
Oh, that's
women,
true.
I think, are more typical to, they typically ask for help, so.
But you know what? I do have to say that recently I have, there's been way more men, especially young men, between like ages 25 and 45 who have been reaching out and wanting help with their own nutrition and meal planning and not necessarily for feeding the family, whereas it's sometimes, but definitely for their own nutrition. I think it's kind of relevant and out there that food and nutrition and what we eat is really impacting our health and prevention of disease and longevity and all those fun things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's an older stereotype, but yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to learn a whole bunch of things today about meal planning, meal prep, just some different strategies to get you through the week in one piece, because everyone struggles at one point or another with what to make for dinner. Like that's kind of what this is all about.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting through that maze and, like I said, getting through in one piece.
Yeah. Because it is a cause of stress and anxiety for many people. And a lot of times the burden does fall on the mom or the woman in the household. It just traditionally has always been like that. And it's changing, but it still is this kind of
expectation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. We're going to learn a whole bunch of great tips from Szilvia. She's got a great background. She's got her own experience with her own kids and family at home too that she brings to the discussion, which is kind of fun to hear about. So yeah, stick around. We'll grab Szilvia and we will educate you all on having a stress-free meal prep week of happy meals.
Not really happy meals.
Not those happy meals.
Yeah.
Stick around.
Today we have Szilvia Brennan from Beyond Food Nutrition. Szilvia, thank you so much for joining Rob and I today. Can you tell the listeners who you are and who you help with your work?
Yeah, hi, Sandra and Rob. Thank you very much for having me today. This is awesome. My name is Szilvia Brennan, and I'm a registered dietitian. And that I work currently in a private practice with my colleague, Lisa. Our clients are mostly women, often women who carry the primary responsibility for family meals for the family or their family unit. And these women usually face a unique set of challenges, which can lead to big struggles in the kitchen. So can lead to kitchen anxiety. Basically, we are trying to help women battle kitchen anxiety by helping them proceed with the process or helping them lay out the process that can alleviate this anxiety and overwhelm in the kitchen. I don't know if it makes
Ooh, I
sense.
like that. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. It's interesting. I was with friends recently, and one of the women said, "What would you rather give up? Making meals or laundry?" Or like, sorry, not laundry. It was cleaning the house. So, what would you rather give up? Like, if you could give up one of your household chores, which one would you give up? The making meals for the family or cleaning the house? And one person said, I love cleaning because I just put in my headphones and I just can, get rid of the world and I don't have to think about it. But with meals, there's so much thought that has to go into it and planning and everything.
For
So
sure.
this is perfect to be talking to you today about this.
Yes, yes, and as you said, that it's not cooking. The biggest struggle isn't just the cooking itself, because that's not the hardest part. It's the mental overload associated with the whole process, right? The process from thinking about what meals to prepare, ensuring that you have the right equipment and ingredients, and planning the grocery trips, and what else, and coordinating the meal preparation with other daily responsibilities, right? It's quite an extensive process if you really think about it, right?
And then
Totally.
on top of that, you've got the like keeping everyone happy and
That's right.
the what's for dinner tonight and making it fun and creative, like 7 days a week, right? And it gets to the point where you feel like, I just did that yesterday. What am I going to do today? And like, yeah,
That's right. Right.
it's a long full-time job. It can be stressful for sure.
Especially if maybe growing up, someone always made meals for you. You never had the opportunity to get in the kitchen and make mistakes and you know what I mean? Like make your own lunch or dinner or like actually make a meal for the family. Like if you never had those opportunities, then I think this is really hard because it's kind of life skills, right? And if you haven't been exposed
Definitely.
to that and things were always brought into the house or are always made for you, then how are you supposed to know what to do?
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely correct. Yes. I mean, as you said, as Rob mentioned, like, the famous catch, I'm sure you guys hear this, is like, what's for dinner, right? Like,
Absolutely.
Totally.
often I hear it's like, just tell me, just please, or even, I even say this sometimes, just please tell me what to make for dinner. I will make it. Just don't make me think about the actual meal that you want me to make, right? Like
Hmm.
even that little bit of decision making process, like just take that out, and it's just, I'll make it. Just tell me what it is you want.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, when people have been working or at school or just out all day or whatever, you just don't have the bandwidth. Like, if you haven't
Yeah,
planned and you don't have, many groceries in the fridge, it's just like the last thing you want to have to figure out. And so, if you don't prioritize the idea of meal planning, like at some point, in the month or in the week or whatever, then it's just you end up doing the DoorDash or like going through drive-through, and that's
yes.
such a true struggle that I see with clients all the time too. This is just perfect. I love that we're talking to you today. This is just exactly so relevant to so many of the people out there.
And I find sometimes people don't even realize that they have perhaps they have some anxiety associated with it, right? Like they just do it, and then they find they are stressed out, but they don't know why, right?
That's true. Yeah.
It's something like, when you talk about kitchen task anxiety and people look at you, well, is it really a thing? Like, I'm not anxious about the kitchen, but it's not about the kitchen. It's about the process, right?
Hmm. Like you said, the cooking part is easy because once you get to that, all the stressful part is over and you just have to cook everything. But it's everything leading up and the deciding and then making sure you have everything on hand. And do I have enough time? And are the dishes I need available? And, like once everything's ready, then it's to put on your headphones and relax and just cook. Because that's the easy part.
Or, you can even make the cooking process like a relaxing process in itself, like put the music on, light a candle, and it could be
Wine.
something very
Yes,
satisfactory.
wine is part of that.
Favorite beverage, yes, whatever it is.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. That's right. The other thing I notice with some people that I talk to is the traditional roles of, women. They're like kind of always been in the kitchen in a sense. And so there's this extra responsibility that they are the ones that have to do this. And you mentioned that that's kind of the people that you see are the women who carry a lot of the family and household responsibilities, including making meals. And so especially younger women, I find that if they haven't been exposed to cooking or preparing foods, and like all of a sudden they're married, they have kids, and both partners, like both mom and dad, are out working, and the woman, like, all of a sudden there's no meal and everyone looks to mom. What's for dinner? Like you said, what's for dinner? And it's extra stressful and extra pressure because all of a sudden, like, I have to figure this out. Like, why is it? And I think it's partly those traditional roles that we see our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, they've always done it. And it's almost a expectation in society that, it's the mom's role to make sure everyone is fed and clothed and all that. So that's another, I was just thinking when you were talking about the women carrying the most of the responsibility. I'm lucky in our life here, and I want to make sure everyone knows Rob makes a lot of the meals. And when our kids were young, he like a big part of the grocery shopping and the meals. So thank you, Rob.
Oh, you're welcome. And our kids make meals too. It's pretty good in our house. We've got 4 people who enjoy being in the kitchen, and it's not the case in every household, unfortunately. But yeah, I think you're right, Sandra. The traditional expectation of the woman is responsible for cooking is still around.
It hasn't always been easy, and all 4 of us wanting to be in the kitchen, like it's definitely gone through phases where
Oh, for sure.
people, like the kids want nothing to do with it. They actually started getting the Hello Fresh, and that really engages, because then there's actually a meal that's in a bag with a recipe card, and then they can take responsibility. I'll do this one, and I want to make this. And so it's a little bit it eases the responsibility on our shoulders. But anyways, yeah.
It's wonderful. It teaches them to actually handle that process that we were talking about earlier, right? Getting them to the point that they will be able to manage that whole process of getting the meals on the table and learning how to manage it.
And your kids are young too, Szilvia. It's like 6 and 12. Do they get in the kitchen sometimes a little bit?
So yeah, I have 3 kids. I have 6 and 10 and 12, and it's kind of funny. My youngest one is the most interested in getting in the kitchen.
No, really, that's awesome.
but that's part of what even we are teaching to our clients to how we are helping them with the process, how to delegate stuff and teach your children to to do age appropriate stuff, obviously, that making sure that your 6-year-old not using a very sharp knife but maybe a plastic one.
Right, totally.
But the earlier you involve them in the whole meal preparation process, and then not even the meal preparation process, actually, it's part of it, but like even grocery shopping or sitting down with them and talking about what kind of meals would you guys be interested in eating, because of course this is when moms and dads concern come up. Well, how do I provide meals that are are nutritious, but they're actually going to eat it and they're going to like it, which is another, added
Yeah.
process.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
picky eaters. It's like it's the bane of so many families, the picky eating and the battles at the dinner table. So I'm glad you mentioned that because I think this really helps is getting them involved in decision making around food in the house.
Yeah, and then if you involve them, they are more likely. Like if they making, if they help make you, my kids really like soup, so we make lots of soups, vegetable soups, and when they are involved in making the soup itself, they are more likely to try it, even if it wasn't something that we made before, or if they chop up their vegetables or fruit for their lunches the next day, they're more likely to eat it.
For
And
sure.
yeah, and then also at the beginning when you're teaching your kids, it's a lot of extra work, right? But it would be easier to say no, let me just do it, but you will reap the benefits of it for sure.
Oh, I love that point. That is so, so important. Like just, the whole like the ounce of prevention is worth the pound of cure, or like just put the effort in when they're young and then it just reaps the benefits. Like you said, like it's so worth the extra effort. It's a little harder for sure. It takes time and it's frustrating as an adult to watch the
Yes.
mistakes maybe, but it's like, it's okay. That's how people learn things is they have to make mistakes to learn,
For
right?
sure, for sure, and definitely going to make a little bit more extra work for you with the math and stuff, but that's the stuff that I think we need to get over. It's like, it's okay, and that's when you involve, your partner or the other kids to help in cleaning up, or, and that's the process, that's the planning in place that needs to take place before, right? And
Hmm.
it's not to say that, when your kids get older, they can't learn it. They can, but they might be a bit more resistant. You just have to find the motivating factor that would encourage them to do stuff. Just like with everything else, whether they need to put away their socks or pick up their toys or do their homework, it's all the same process, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And if there's a framework of like, this could be your time to be creative. Like you can add whatever spice you want. You can put whatever you want together. We don't care. It's up to you. It's your kitchen. It's your ingredients. And, I think that gives like, if people look at it more like not a chore, that it could be actually, like you said earlier, you put the candle on, you put your music in, you get in the zone, then actually people enjoy cooking and look
Yeah.
forward to it instead of thinking it's such a chore.
Yes, definitely. And, it is the process, it is the planning. And unfortunately, when you say meal planning and process and plans, those words in itself can stress people out.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something our daughter was living on her own this year at school, and something that she did, and she's sort of trying to convince us to do it a bit, is she would do her grocery shopping online. And
Okay.
it's something that I've never really done. I kind of like strolling through the store, but it's definitely time saving, and you definitely save money because you don't get sucked into those the deals. You don't see them when you're online shopping. You just sort of go through your list and you get what's on your list, and then it's delivered to your door like a couple hours
Yeah.
later, and it's a pretty good way to do it.
Well, there is definitely lots of different opportunities out there to make your process easier, right? It's
Hmm.
just everyone need to find the processes which would be beneficial to them or which they can incorporate into their own lives, right?
Right, right.
Some people may not be able to drive and or not have access to a car because the family might have only one car and the person is working out of the house, but they need to get the grocery in. That would be a great option for them to get the groceries delivered. And
Hmm.
so the burden of grocery shopping doesn't fall on the person who actually has the car all the time, right? So
Exactly.
it's kind of, you can look at it all sorts of different ways.
There was another point I was going to mention too when we were talking about kids in the kitchen, and something that worked for us when our kids were younger is we had a separate fridge. It was just a little bar fridge, and we had a like a mud room off the kitchen, so we had a little a bit of space to keep this extra fridge, and we would get things that the kids wanted for their lunches, and that would be just their fridge for their stuff. And they were packing their own lunches when they were in like grade 1.
Fantastic.
It was amazing. And it was because they had stuff in their fridge that they chose, and we gave them that responsibility, and yeah, it worked amazingly. I don't know if that's going to work for everyone, but it definitely, I think a lot of people think that kids aren't capable of that responsibility and that task when they're that young, but they totally are. So
Yeah.
yeah, something to
You're
try.
right, Rob. I think that's part of it is people don't like to give up control. Like it's not that. It's just more like they think they know what the child needs for their nutrition. But the thing is, it's about exploring foods and just learning to have different foods and variety and learning to love different textures and flavors and not that, and having the mistakes like when you're like as I mentioned before, when you're in the kitchen and cooking different things, oh, that doesn't work together, or oh, that is great and the family loves it. And just having those, just the exposure to meal preparation and food preparation and even making lunches, I think that's all. It's got to be some independence and autonomy of the kids when they're young, just so that they get to learn more about food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're more likely to eat it too if they pack their own food. I found that there's many days when their lunch boxes came home empty. It's like, oh, great, you guys ate it all. But if I packed it for them, then they'd be like, "Hey, what's this? Like, Dad made this weird sandwich for us, and it came home at the end of the day." And so, yeah, that's a plus.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great for you guys. I mean, I'm working on the lunches with the kids because even though I'm a dietitian, I don't know how you, Sandra, relate to this, but that's my biggest pet, not even pet peeve, but it's just like, oh my gosh, I do not like making lunches for school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I do not like it. This is one of the things that the faster you take it off my plate, the happier I will be, right?
Yep.
It's interesting because I grew up in Europe, right? And there is, I think they have it in the States as well, the meal programs at schools, right? So my mom never had to pack my lunch because I had my warm meal at school, right?
Oh, perfect.
So, and when I had to pick up the lunch making tasks and making it for 3 kids, it's like, oh, what would I give?
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's so funny because that's what you're that's part of your business is helping people figure out. So this is good. I mean, this is helping you too.
That's right, and there is a process that we set up for the lunch, the making or packing the lunch meals that help, on the long run because it will simplify things, and you're not gonna feel like it's like, oh no, it's 7:00 again, and I have to get those dang lunch bags out and make the lunch.
Yeah, I don't even like packing my own lunch.
I know.
It's just one of those things that I don't think many people. Actually, we have a friend that makes lunches for her whole family every morning, and it's part of her morning routine. And she's got like 4 kids and her husband, and she packs she makes 6 lunches because I'm like, wow, really? She says, yep, it's easier for me just to do them all than to have this chaos in the kitchen of everyone trying to pack their own lunch. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but I wouldn't want to be the person making all the lunches.
No,
but good on you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So that's one thing. It's interesting. Everyone has their own things that they don't like to do, or that's causing them more of a stress to figure out, right? But there's always a process, that can help you to reduce that anxiety around the food preparation or the cooking, and then actually finding a joy in it after it's all working in sync with whatever you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the strategies that you offer to help clients?
So we offer several different strategies, but one of them probably would be the simplified meal planning in itself, right? So we offer meal plans and grocery lists and prep guides to remove the guesswork from the daily meal preparation. Remember, we talked about, just figuring out what to eat or what the recipe would be or, what the meal would be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the person who's responsible making those meals, they will have a clear plan that can actually reduce their decision fatigue, right?
Right,
So that
right. Yes.
they can just basically take the plan and use it, right? You don't need to think about it. You just simply need to follow it, right? So everything is created for you, even including the delegation tasks, right? How you delegate tasks in the kitchen to different family members, right?
Oh, that's great.
And we are there to support them, right? So we act as partners they are looking for in this process, because often what we want is just someone to be our partners and help us out, right? So yeah, by simplifying these processes, they can hopefully achieve a better overall life balance, reducing the stress and able to make those nutritious meals that also helps their mental well-being, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so the
And then
meal. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, and then it all just becomes natural, right? I mean, they go through this process and learn a few tips, and then it just becomes the natural thing that they do. They don't have to like
Yes.
follow the recipe or whatever anymore.
No.
Yeah,
Definitely, it's a learning process, right? So once you figured out how it works for you, then once you learn the process, then you can make your own plan, right?
yeah,
Uh,
perfect.
and then it's just teaching them. But I think when people get to the point of like kitchen test anxiety, at that point they need something simple to follow that they don't even need to think about.
Hmm.
And then this is when we come in, right? Like we take the teachable moments, we provide the support, and we are ultimately trying to steer them to the direction of like, yes, hey, you can do this on your own now, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. You have sent a 3-day meal plan, and that's so cool. I just looked at it. So you have a free 3-day meal plan for our listeners that they can click on and then get some information about how to do this. So like it's kind of a template or a guide for them.
It's just a simple, basically, it's like a collection of 3 dinner recipes. I believe there is one breakfast recipe and one lunch recipe. And then it also provides them with a grocery list, checklist that they can use. And yeah, I thought that would be a simple step to just, check it out, see if that would be helpful for any of your listeners.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, that would be excellent. Because I mean, I think this is an issue that a lot of people have. Many clients I talk to and friends and family mention like, "What's for dinner?" is like such a
Yes.
they get like anxiety just hearing that, at 5:30 in the afternoon, and it's like, ah, I don't want to have to think about it. And like you said, the decision fatigue. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. And do you have some examples, like a few examples of easy prep and tasty meals that you guys talk to your clients about?
Sure. And I just wanted to mention, sorry, about so it's not like we are not just about meal planning, right? So that's just one of the strategies that we teach. I mean, there's a lot of different meal plans out there that you can get or people can get online, right? But that's just part of the process. We help our clients also with kitchen organization, right? So we help the clients streamline their kitchen setup to make sure that they find and have easy access to what they need. And this well-functioning and organized kitchen also reduces the stress, right? So an example of that would be placement of dishware or food items that can make daily tasks more seamless, right? It does matter where you put it in your kitchen, right? So, that again is just another step in the process.
Yeah, no, totally.
Absolutely. It's a whole process, right? I mean, the more streamlined you can make it, the less hiccups there's going to be in the making the food. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I usually
So
just
yeah,
like grab some of the part of the dinner like that we're eating at night. I will put a little bit aside, and like if I'm packing my own lunch, put that aside for the next day's lunch if I'm going out of the house or even if I'm staying at home. It's just one way to kind of streamline, and I'm in the kitchen anyway, so that I don't have to think about it in the morning. I can just have my breakfast or whatever, and that kind of thing, or even make overnight oats for breakfast the night
that's right.
before and
That's
the
right.
lunch at the same time. And then just since I'm in the kitchen, I'm going to do it all now, and then it'll all be ready in the fridge and ready to go, kind of thing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we were lucky enough to be able to get our kitchen renovated not too long ago, and I didn't realize, even though I'm in this field, that how much this kitchen streamlining is actually making my life easier. Like basically putting my dishware right above the dishwasher, for example, and when I unload that dishwasher, which I don't like doing, it really
Mm.
doesn't take me that long. It takes me 5 minutes to unload the dishwasher because it's everything under my hand. I don't
Yeah.
really have to move around. Like I don't have to walk around the whole kitchen to put everything away, right? Like
Mhm.
obviously
Oh
there are
yeah.
things that you don't use all the time. That's different. But things that you use all the time, like it does matter where they placed or how strategically placed in the kitchen, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're lucky. We have our son, actually, it's kind of his job, and it has been for years, to unload the dishwasher. So it's just like, oh, the dishwasher's full and ready to like we just have to say his name, and he knows that that's just something he helps around
Awesome.
the house. Thank
That's really
goodness.
good.
It's so handy. We miss him when he's not here.
That's awesome. So yeah, it's and then you were asking me about recipes and stuff. We are able to provide recipes and the tasty recipes that are also nutritious because we are both dietitians. So it is important for us that we do incorporate that nutrition knowledge, that we teach people what it is good for them while it's still tasty. Taste is very important, right?
Oh,
It's
for sure. Yeah. That's what makes people eat it.
yeah, definitely.
Right?
So to answer to your question, we try to provide some easy prep and tasty meals that that doesn't involve too many different steps, for example, because before you get to a point where you enjoy cooking and you want to make more elaborate meals, for example, and you wouldn't want to do that every day anyways, you just want to kind of streamline your process with that as well. So some of the favorites, I guess, that our clients like is like the sheet pan meals, right? Like sheet pan roasted chicken with vegetables, for example. It's basically you just throw everything in a one pan in like a cookie sheet, for example. But, say a chicken breast with a variety of vegetables, and then roast them together, and it's everything is ready at the same time, and you don't have that very many dishes to take care of it afterwards, or even to prep this meal because you don't use so many different tools, right?
Yeah.
So that would be one of the favorites. What else would they
That's
like?
making me hungry. I feel like I want to make
Same.
that for dinner tonight, Rob. That sounds delicious.
It is around lunchtime
It is.
at your way, right?
You're right.
Exactly.
You got it. That's right. We haven't eaten. That's why I'm hungry. But
It's
that's
funny that
funny.
that sheet pan is something Sandra does when it's like the last minute. We don't know what we're going to make for dinner, and then all of a sudden she just pulls all the stuff. Well, not she's obviously prepared it, but yeah, that's the go-to kind of. We don't know what we're eating for dinner tonight, and then throw a bunch of stuff in the oven and one baking sheet, and boom, you've got all this food. It's a great.
And it's pretty impressive too, because people are like, "Oh my God, how did you get all that? What?" Because it's all
Yeah,
like,
it is.
but it's just like you put it all in a pan, and
Yeah.
it's when when I was growing up, my mom used to make things all separately, right? And we do that sometimes, obviously, but you're boiling things and you're roasting, like have things in the oven. You got the microwave, like there's everything is going. But with this, it's so streamlined. You just cut it all up and put it on a pan, and then it's ready soon. I love it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's great. It is really great. It's they usually taste very good too when you mix all those different flavors together, right? Like it just makes it so
Yes.
tastier,
Yeah,
right?
for
Oh,
sure.
totally. Yeah.
And then, like a one pot stuff, like, stir fries, whether it's a vegetable stir fry with tofu or like vegetables or chicken, whatever, the people like. Again, it's easy. It's in a one pan. And again, it has the protein, it has the vegetables, and often you can prep things ahead of time for most of these meals as well, right? Like that's part of the plan that we put in placement for people. And certain days you can pre-plan to prep your items for certain recipes, right? And then all you have to do is just pull those out, throw them in the pan, and then fry them up, and you have a delicious, quick, and healthy dinner that hopefully everyone likes in your family, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
how I
totally.
cook. It's just the one thing, everything goes in it, and whatever's in the fridge that looks like it'll fit goes in it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's quick. Frozen vegetables are a big plus with that as well. If you're looking for quick, frozen
Yeah,
vegetables are an easy one to add. Always have them in your freezer, and
definitely.
yeah, then you've got an instant meal.
And then also we all produce and food, prices of food is so expensive these days, right? So we want to make sure that we don't waste stuff, right? Like we want to reduce the waste so that we don't throw basically the money out in the garbage, right? So these
Totally.
one pot meals are great to use up leftover. You have a little piece of carrot leftover. Well, just chuck it in your stir fry or your sheet pan or whatever, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's a great way to use up some of the items in your fridge that you don't necessarily want to throw out because things are quite expensive these days.
My
That's
mom, when I was growing up, I've said this many times on this podcast, but my mom had the soup pot, she called it, in the freezer, and that's what any little scrap, or like you said, like a leftover piece of carrots or any leftover noodles, anything pretty much would go in the soup pot. And then when it was full, she'd throw it in the blender, and it varied every time depending on what we had been eating. But she'd throw it in the blender and it would make green soup. It was always green,
Awesome.
and it was always delicious, and it was a really good way to just sort of use up those leftovers and little odds and ends and scraps that were kicking around. And
That's
yeah
great.
yeah
That's awesome.
so yeah, there you go.
that's a good idea. I like that. Yeah. And then we always have our either refried beans in a wrap, or you get the tofu, like
Yes,
marinated tofu, or just ways to kind of or a can of tuna, or some hard-boiled eggs, and like stick it in a wrap with some vegetables, and you've got like
that-
a portable meal, and it could be lunch, it could be dinner. It's just a little bit of a almost like fast food, but it's not fast food. It's
of course.
fast to make, but it's healthy food. So
And it's always nice if you have an opportunity to make a little extra with the meal that you're making. It's always nice to have when we talked about making lunches for children or family members, leftovers are your friends, right? So
Absolutely.
they are.
yeah.
I love leftovers, and it's it beats a sandwich at any day in my books, right?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
using the
totally.
kitchen once but getting 2 meals out of it, or three
That's right.
meals, depending on how much you make. But like if you're going to make pasta, make the whole bag, I think,
That's right.
because then you've got it, and it's your lunch the next day, or you can put it into the soup, or like
And
there's no sense.
you can always freeze it. People don't realize that you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
freeze cooked pasta, right? And then you have some, maybe it's a different pasta, but you have some soup, and there is the kids like the pasta. Well, let's just take it out of the freezer, right? And you can use
Pasta
it.
never lasts long enough in our house to freeze,
Yeah, that's true. That's so
right?
true. The easy food. Yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh my goodness, this has been great. I love all the ideas and just strategies to help people in the kitchen, and it's something that everyone has to do, right? Like we have to have good food, and we have to cook if we want to be healthy, because the research shows that people who make their meals at home tend to eat healthier than people that are eating out
Definitely.
or going through fast food or the drive-through or whatever. So this is it's important. It's an important strategy to help with long-term health for yourself and for your family.
Oh, for sure. I can't agree with you more. I mean, that's the only way to control what you put in your food, right? I mean, you go to it's nice to go to restaurants and be social and whatnot, but you don't want to do that all the time. It should be a a treat, right? Like it should be an event, not like a daily occurrence, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And often I find that even children, they they want to go out for dinner, but then they like the meals better at home. It's kind of funny.
I love that.
Because
That's awesome. Yeah.
and then you control what you put in there, right? Just like you said, I mean, healthy eating is really important. And, this is the way how you control what's in your food, and you can make it healthy. And again, as dietitians, Sandra, we are able to teach people, the basics of healthy eating, right?
Totally. Oh, yeah. And actually, that leads me into our other question. This is one that maybe Rob can ask. It's a question we ask all of our guests.
If you're going to a potluck dinner, what are you going to bring?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, the easiest answer would be it depends, right?
Exactly.
Right? It's what season is it and what kind of party? And
It's funny. If I if I had a choice to bring whatever I want, I have something go to. But again, I like to ask the host, well, do you need a salad? Do you need a main? It just depends what they need.
What's your favorite thing to bring? How about that?
My favorite would be like a big colorful quinoa salad with, say, chickpeas and avocado with homemade dressing.
Right on.
I like this kind of salad because you get to put all the nutritious vegetables in there, chop it up, and you can make it ahead of time. It's easy to transport, right? And you don't have to make it like the hour before you go into the party, which is nice because then you have the leisurely time to get ready and you don't have to be stressed out.
I love that. We have one coming up this weekend. I think I'm going to use that. That's I love the idea. You're right. That is so true, because when you're going to a potluck, we've never talked about this part, is like, it's so nice to have something that transports easily and not like sloshes all over the place or whatever.
True, yeah.
And that you can make ahead of time. Like, that is so, instead of having to make it right like on the spot or like right before the potluck, you can have it like they can make it like a couple days before or a day before.
And quinoa salad always tastes better the next day, in my opinion. But
oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So different veggies that you chop up, and you have the quinoa made, and then you put like canned drained and rinsed chickpeas in there.
That's correct, yes, and chop up. So the only thing that I wouldn't put in the day before, if I use the avocado, because you don't want your avocado to get too brown. But I mean, cutting up an avocado, that doesn't really take that much time.
Right. So add it at the end, like right before you're going to serve it.
Or just, don't worry about the avocado, put something else in there. If you if you wanted to add some different greens, you could put green peppers or green onions or even broccoli, like whatever you like, right?
I love, and seeds. Could you put like some like pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds or sesame seeds?
Definitely pumpkin seeds, or I think I would really, I like the textures, different textures together, but again, it's personal, right? Roast, I always roast almonds in my oven, so I just put regular, like I like Costco. Who doesn't like Costco?
There you go. Giant bag of almonds, right? Is that
giant bag of almonds. Yep. I keep the giant bag of almonds at home, and I usually roast like a cookie sheet of almonds for about 10-15 minutes in the oven, and then I put it in an airtight container, and I just chop it up or, crunch it up and throw it in the quinoa salad. You can do that. You can do some seeds, or what else could you put in there?
Like hemp hearts or...
Hemp heart. Oh, hemp hearts would be really good in there. Good idea.
Yeah. Oh, this sounds like I am going to make this for our potluck.
I'm getting hungry, Sandra.
This is great. And that's the thing, when you get the creative juices flowing, like, that was awesome. And it's really not that like hard. You know what I mean? Like, it seems so daunting to think about what to eat all week and all the different meals for everybody. But really, when you get down to it, like, this kind of salad would be awesome for the family for maybe 1, maybe 2 meals, because you can make enough quinoa. Yeah, I love that. That's great. Yeah.
Definitely. And again, we coming from it from a different angle, right? Because we are coming from what we are teaching, what we see, and we don't always understand what is happening exactly on the other side with your clients, right? But you can, portion out these quinoa salads and put them in little jars in your fridge, and there are your lunches for the week, right? So, or for like 3 days or whatever, if you like them, right? So
Exactly.
Smart. Oh.
I have one more question for you, Szilvia. That's kind of like the last one here. What are your kids like? What's their favorite thing that they like you to make? Like your favorite family meal,
That's a really interesting one. My kids are really different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a challenge right there.
It is a challenge, yes. So it's hard. It's actually hard to find one meal that all three of them will eat per se,
wow.
because they all have different tastes. But there's one thing they all actually going to eat is soup. I have been making soup, I guess, because I've been making it for them for a long time. It's vegetable soup. It's basically whether it's a chicken noodle soup with a whole bunch of vegetables. I don't just make chicken noodle with the chicken. I put peas in there and carrots and celery and
True dietitian.
Yeah.
And or cauliflower soup. They love cauliflower soup with
nice.
with like a broth and whatnot. So they will only, and this is one way I actually get some of the vegetable into all of them, because most of them will eat. Well, some of them pick out certain things like the celery or whatever, but at least they eat most of the stuff in the bowl, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
But then each of them, it's interesting. If I put my three kids together, I could make a healthy plate.
Right, because they all eat different things, right?
Yes. So one of them, my youngest one, loves protein. Like he likes meat and stuff, right? My eldest one, so my youngest son, Rigor, he likes protein. My eldest, my other son, he loves carbohydrates, which is, he likes pasta and potatoes and all that stuff. And my daughter loves vegetables.
Oh, perfect.
Oh my God,
that's funny.
Yeah, they all each have their own preferences.
So I used to joke, if you guys put, a plate together, it actually would be healthy. Separately, not necessarily.
That's funny.
But I'm trying every day. So they are always, all you can do is, a role model, your plate, seeing what you're eating and offering them. Don't force them, because it's not going to work. It never does.
Totally.
But keep offering it them. Just put it in front of them. Make sure that, there is something that they like on their plate, and there is something they should try, and something that that they don't like, but they keep, they have to try it so many times, over 20 times before they accept it anyways. So,
and you have to make it look like it's the best thing you've ever eaten.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my God, this broccoli is so good. It's just like, mouth water. And
the hardest when you actually not if say there is something is not your favorite, but oh yeah, it's so yummy.
Exactly.
That's too funny. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for all of your great information and all the strategies to help with meal planning and that daunting task for so many women out there and men. I mean, for so many
That's
people.
Right. That's right. It's we do focus on we do focus on the women, but that's not to say that there are men out there as well. Lots of them who take responsibilities in the kitchen, and sometimes they need the help, and they can get the same kind of stress. Anyone can, really. It's just, as long as it's available somewhere for you to turn to, it can really help, I think.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
great. Yeah, for sure. And we'll have those links in the show notes to your 3-day meal plan, and also to your Instagram and your social media pages. Hey, Rob?
Exactly. And the name of your business is Beyond Food Nutrition. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Perfect. And you have a website, I would guess?
We are working on the website. So we have the name is registered to us, but the website is not up and running yet. But our social media is up, and Instagram has some tips and ideas that that can start some people out on the right direction, I guess. And yeah, hopefully that simple meal plan would be useful to some people. And I think we have some other free handouts on our Instagram that if people are interested in downloading.
Yeah, sounds great. We will definitely direct people that way for you. That's sounds like super useful stuff.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We like to sing, so, but again, we are biased, right?
Oh, no, that's great. That's good. Well, I wish you and Lisa good luck with everything. And I really appreciate all the information that you've helped today with to help our listeners get through their anxiety and struggles with just trying to get a meal plan going and healthy food in the house and on the table for the families.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I really enjoyed talking to you both.
Yeah, it's great having you, Szilvia. Thanks again.
Thank you.
That was a good interview, eh?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like there's so many. We went on different tangents around meal planning for families, for young kids, about picky eating, and so many just ideas, eh?
And I was thinking too, as far as dietitians, there's so many different avenues you guys can go down, and it's great. And there's so many different ways that you can help people. Like the other day, we were listening to like an old episode of ours that was nutrigenomics, which is super science, like
Cutting edge.
yeah. And then there's the other end of the spectrum, which is like super practical stuff, like we were talking to Szilvia about, and it's all really helpful and really useful, and it's just. Yeah, it's really, I'm learning a lot. It's really interesting for me in the position that I'm doing as co-host and learning and talking to all these different people and yeah, getting my brain filled. I had no idea there was such variety in this field, but
I know. I think there's a lot of connotations around what a registered dietitian does, and it's very one dimensional. Oh, she writes a diet out, or she does a meal plan, or
you have a clipboard and you wag your finger at people a lot.
And that's totally not what we do. We
not
do.
at all.
There's so many, like everybody eats, and there's so many chronic diseases, and there's so much we're learning about nutrients and different elements of nutrition and food and diet and eating. And there's just, it's so cool. It's mind blowing, all of the different avenues and all of the support that dietitians can give people. It's really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Sylvie's gig that she's doing with Lisa, that's her partner, right? Everyone stresses about food, about dinner, about meals, like it's such a great idea for them to, especially as dietitians, because they can offer the healthy options as far as meal planning, not just how to do it, but here's some healthy ways to do it. And yeah, they've got the background and the experience, and I'm sure they'll do really well. And
there's all the complexities around relationship with food, with your kids, and
for sure,
with like mealtime struggles and battles. And that's the thing with dietitians is we're so versed in so many of these realms because we work with people. We're on the job. We, see one-to-one. We're clinical. So we have all of those realms that we help and support different clients and different populations groups.
Yeah. Even in her own family there, I laughed when she was talking about how her kids they all have different likes, which is pretty typical, but the pasta, the meat, and the veggies. And it's like, well, how do you cook for so she's got her own personal experience that she brings to the table too. So that's super useful.
Yeah. As so many dietitians with families and are usually, a lot of times, as we talked about with the traditional roles, the woman is in the role of the meal planner and the grocery getter, the chief cook and bottle washer, as some of the men that I used to talk to when I did the prostate groups at the cancer clinic. Right. They would always bring their wives along to the group because it's like, well, they don't want to hear about nutrition and food. They want their wives to hear so that they can do the right thing in terms of what foods to eat through their treatment. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. No, it's so interesting. And I think this is a great opportunity for our listeners to grab that 3-day meal plan that Beyond Food Nutrition with Sylvie and Lisa have offered. We'll put that in the show notes. And then you can also go and check their social media handles on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. I've had a peek at their Instagram. There's some great ideas on there, some videos and different things. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a slew of things coming up too as they get more established with their new gig here.
Yeah, and they're both veterans in terms of long-term career dietitians. Both of them have lots of experience under their belt and in other realms and working with people in different ways. So it's really cool that they've teamed up and that they're going to be offering this awesome online group service to people and meal plan help and other things too. It sounds like they're just starting, but they have a lot of plans for their business.
Yeah. So go check them out. We will put links to those social media sites in our show notes. So that is it for this week. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to Szilvia for joining us as well. It's always nice hearing some new ideas and talking to different people. Like I said, it's intriguing for me to learn all these new things. And I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure everyone is excited to hear from different people.
And I loved her idea of the quinoa salad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another great recipe that's nutritious and delicious. It incorporates the quinoa and the chickpeas and all the vegetables, and it's a great one to bring to a potluck. So thank you for that, Sylvie. We'll be knocking on your door one day when we do our North American road trip.
Yeah, exactly. Taking it on the road.
Yeah, and saying hi to you in person.
There we go. So check out our website in the meantime. We've got lots of great blog articles. We've got our newsletter on there, weekly newsletter. You can join up for that. You can email us your questions too. We've got lots of listener questions, people wanting to know certain things, and we're happy to answer that on the show. So don't be shy. Shoot us your questions, things you want to know. You can also reach us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can connect with us there as well. Give us a like. That helps us. You can also rate and review the show. That's super helpful as well. And sharing with a friend, something that is good for your friend. Your friend will appreciate hearing the awesome stuff you're listening to, and it helps us as well. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. And we will be back Wednesday with our mini midweek episode, the Nutrition Nuggets. And so yeah, stick around for that. We will talk to you all on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife, the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.